On today's show, a girl has a visit from death at the bottom of a swimming pool. Woo! In another dream, May is shown how dad and mom affect her ability to connect with other people and speak as herself, and also to get into her heart. Very detailed dream. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hello and welcome, everybody.
This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and you on your journey. That's why we focus on dreams. That's what dreams are, the communication from the spirit world to you. If you want to know what you're meant to be doing in your life right now at this very moment in time, then look no further than your dreams. A lot of people get it backwards. A lot of people try to figure out what their life is and say, I'm just going to do this and then I'm going to look for help when I get stuck. Really, you should be looking at, why am I here? What's my purpose? What do I need to do to get back into alignment? Sandy, do we have some dreams?
Yes, we do. And I'm real excited about our dreams for today. So we're just going to dive right in. All righty. A visit from death at the bottom of the swimming pool.
I love the title. I love the title.
I do too. It's crazy. And it's from John. And it's a very interesting dream. A young girl is in the swimming pool changing room. Three menacing looking hooded black figures are standing there with her. However, she seems oblivious to their presence. The girl is now standing beside the pool with a group of young girls and a male swimming instructor. The swimming instructor dives into the water and starts a long descent towards the bottom of the pool, which is very deep. He reaches the bottom, turns around, and swims to the surface. He tells the girls there is nothing to fear, so they all dive in. As I watch them all descend deeper and deeper, I'm very concerned for their safety as they have no oxygen tank or safety equipment with them. They eventually reach the bottom. Most of the girls are playing. I see the girl from the changing room alone with her back against a wall. Suddenly, one of the hooded black figures is next to her. This time, she can see it. It stretches a bony, decayed arm towards her, and she tries to back away. And then it lowers its hood to reveal its horrifying figure. She recognizes the figure as death, screaming and panicking. I desperately searching for the instructor. His attention is on the other girls, and he is oblivious to what has happened. The group is back up on the surface again, and the girl is lying motionless by the side of the pool. Paramedics are trying to retrieve her. A few minutes have already passed. The swimming instructor is nowhere to be seen. It's all his fault. He took no safety measures. The dream skips into a future scene where the paramedics successfully revive the girl. She is with her father, and he tells her that she will never return to the swimming course again. What a crazy dream.
Absolutely. And I think John could be a writer with the way he describes this. Apart from the kicking and screaming, or screaming and panicking at the bottom of a pool, can you really scream at the bottom of a pool? We'll have to try that out.
No, I know you can't. I've tried it.
All right. So in the first dream I did for this person, I said that they had an issue at age 3 that causes them to feel nervous. And here we see it again. Any idea what gives us the age 3, Sandy?
Let's see. Nope. I don't see the number 3 anywhere in this.
Right at the start. 3 menacing looking hooded black figures are standing there with the young girl in the changing room. So
I missed it.
So it's just surprising how consistent things are when you look at dreams, and very different dreams. So these dreams are a couple of months apart, and it's all about the feminine side. That's cool. That's what it's about, because we have the girls and we have spiritual leadership because we have a leader and we have groups in the stream. So both of those would say that John is a spiritual leader, which works through feminine energy, but he shirks it because of issues at the age 3. So that's what he has to work on. And indeed he is at this time, is actually working on it. So when we're working on an issue, we're happy to see it show up. We want to see it show up, you know. So he's been asked to go deeper into his spiritual side, but he doesn't feel safe because he has all these references to they don't have any oxygen tank and they don't have safety equipment, and it has this ominous feel all the way through, right? And then the other part I would say from the dream is that he feels ignored because the girl feels ignored, or at least him looking at her, he has the feeling of like she's being ignored by the instructor. And another point I've made is that staying out of life is his way of feeling safe, which isn't a good thing, doesn't actually work. It's just that life is so threatening that if I pull back, I'm going to feel safe. But then, you know, I don't, because that lack of feeling safe is actually part of me. And then the last part that I've, at least notes that I've taken, is I blame those in charge for me getting emotional. And I had to channel on that bit for him. So it's always good to know, how does it show up, or how did it show up when I was a child? So when he was a child, he was very emotional. He shared some stories, you know, that his dad brought him to the zoo one time and he cried. He couldn't remember what he cried about. And his dad, for years, said he regretted taking him to the zoo. He really regretted doing that, you know, which is crazy. He's an emotional kid. Some kids are very emotional, and it's a phase. We have to allow it. But he would get into this state of being very, very emotional about something and not getting seen, feeling ignored, and blame those in charge for his state. And he can probably see that a little bit in life today as well. It's always good, though, to know what it is. But Sandy, do you have questions?
Yeah, so we've got girls standing behind the pool. So you want to talk a little bit about the pool? What's going on with the pool?
Well, the pool is life, but a pool is like a safe symbol for life because you're not in the ocean, you're not in a lake, there's nothing else in the water, it's small, and often there's a lifeguard around and so on. And here there's an instructor, so it should have been a safe situation. And so it represents getting into life or spirituality, but it's a very, very deep pool. And the instructor even goes to the bottom to show how safe it is. Of course, it turns out it's not safe. We can see it. It's like a movie. You know, it's like, oh, this ship will never sink. We know later on in the movie this ship is going to sink. And so it's like that in this person's dream. And so he doesn't feel safe. And that's what it's all about. But the dream is actually trying to get him over that fear. And it doesn't work, but it shows at least where it's coming from.
Right. You covered not feeling safe with, you know, no oxygen tank or safety equipment. But the hooded black figure and death, what the heck is that?
So death isn't always negative. Death is about like a major change, typically, like a funeral or you dying in a dream is about some significant change happening in your life that you become a different person. And it's always about some negative aspect dying, at least a funeral is some negative aspect dying. And then some positive part of us can see the light of day because of that. Here, though, it's a child, it's a young girl who is seeing death and has this kind of threat with the menacing hooded black figures around her. So it's like his feminine side died, or an aspect to do with his feminine side died at a young age. And that's what the dream is trying to fix.
Yeah, so what about the instructor being there and then he is oblivious to what's going on with the girl and then he's vanished. He's nowhere to be seen.
He does a runner. I find that really funny. Obviously, it wouldn't be funny in reality, but it explains how John feels. That like if I get into deep water or I get in trouble in deep water, then those around me aren't going to be there for me. And so this is part of the not feeling safe.
That's interesting. Very well done. All righty. I don't have any more questions, so let's move on to the next dream. This is from May, and it was done in February. No title. And it's long, so we're going to break it in this parts. I was with a group. We are all sitting on chairs. It seems we are sitting in a circle. It was my turn to speak. I spoke about people bringing their gifts from their past lives and utilizing them. And we can cultivate talents in this time. But the ones will use mostly are the ones we have developed in other lifetimes. You can tell they are deep souls. They are like artists. I saw people enjoying listening to me speaking. A middle-aged man who is the leader of the group said something of the ground rules I was not following. Ooh. Uh, Something about vaccinations. I got a little nervous and said, okay, I will follow the ground rules next time.
Yeah,
Right.
so it's a sad start straight away. The dreamer is cutting the ties with dad. We see dad show up, and that's great. Now, later on, mom kind of shows up. Dreams will do this. They will often mix both parents because the issues are kind of overlapped, but we can only work on one at a time. So I'll point out the stuff with mom, but realize the working on dad is really what we want to see. So we know she's a spiritual leader. She's leading a thing, like it's her turn to speak, and she's talking about bringing your gifts from past lives and using them and so on. So that's all really good stuff. And totally agree with what she says in the dream. But then the other part is her natural ability to connect well with others is dampened by dad's insistence on following rules. So we know straight away, here's an issue with dad. He created rules. He said, you had to follow these rules, and I still am impacted by that today. And so, like, she wouldn't like to go off script, and things would really bother her if rules weren't followed. Like I said, does someone cutting in line bug you for the rest of the day? Like an out of proportion response to something that happened at 9 a.m. ruins even your meal at 6 p.m. Now, I have a bit of this one. Sandy finds it very amusing. She's able to just let things go. And I tell her she has a problem because she lets them go too quickly. It's not true. Not true, but it is true. That's the way I am. So I understand this one. But anyway, our dreamer here has it. And then, of course, she says people enjoyed listening to her speak. So that means that she doubts that people enjoy listening to her speak. Now, she's working on issues with dad. Dad has to do with confidence, belief in yourself, and so on. So doubting is the opposite of confidence, doubting yourself. So she doubts herself because of the issues with dad. So we see straight away the dream is jumping on the right bandwagon for us, let's say, because this is what she's trying to fix.
Oh, very good. Okay, next paragraph. A couple of or several people said people were asked to follow the government's instructions when they get sick. Follow certain steps that include peeing on top of something. People did it, and when they were asked how they felt, they said they felt terrible. Our group does not agree with what the government or authorities tell us. There was a large group of people, and they were called one by one. They were either told something when they were called, or they needed to confess something. They were saying someone has connections and they come back or be added back easily. I forgot about the rest of the details.
All right.
Very interesting.
Here I said, you do follow government instructions. Like that's a given because we see it in the dream. Now, should we all follow government instructions? This is a dream. This is the way to look at it. It's not to do with reality. The dream is trying to get her to break the rules. Dad was the type that set rules, and she ends up doing things that she doesn't really want to do. So now the dream is trying to get her to break that so that she can do what she wants to do and not what other people earlier in her life wanted her to do. So I asked her, because of another part of this dream, I asked, well, what you just said, did dad make you confess things to remain a member of the family? Now, I said it in a strong way, but the point is clear. And she said it was actually worse than that. He put words in my mouth that weren't true. So we see it in the dream, it's just another thing to put on the list of this is why you're working on dad. This is why it's an issue.
Wow, it's really weird because they had to follow certain steps, including peeing on top of something, and that made them feel terrible. And then the group didn't agree. And then let's see, they were something they were called, they had to say, or they needed to confess something. That was weird, Michael. So I see how you got that.
Yeah, and the peeing on top of things is really about elimination. Like, here's how you have to clear these issues, but it has to be done this particular way. So again, I'm working on the issues with dad, but it must be done this particular, because I'm a rule follower, and we don't want that. We want, mainly we don't want it because that's what dad made you be. So we want to fix that. And so we see all the right things being addressed in the dream, being brought up.
Well, okay, good. Next paragraph. I saw an ex-female friend around me. She didn't look too happy about me. I think my mom was around me as well. I was wearing two sweaters. I wasn't aware of it first. When I became aware of it, I decided to take one off.
Excellent. That means she feels uncomfortable sharing. So I'm super, super careful that I don't have to. And I pretend to open up, but really I'm still protecting myself. It's like, I've got two sweaters on. Hey, everybody, look at me. I'm taking off a sweater. This is me. This is what I have on underneath. You can all see who I am now, but no, I have this secret other sweater. So people don't really see me at all. I really keep myself at a distance that way. So I don't know why I said excellent. It's not excellent, but it's very clear what the issue is. But we see it kind of switching to mom because of the female friend who's there and then the sweaters. So when we see that, we know it's about the heart. I don't like really to share how I feel and so on.
Well, she also calls out my mom was around me as well.
That's true.
All righty, next paragraph. I was walking under a tunnel, almost towards the end of it. My parents are somewhere else. I hear my mom was asking how come someone was getting sick. My dad didn't worry about it. He doesn't seem to care much. I don't know who they are talking about. Then my mom is yelling, "Oh no!" A lot of anxiety coming from her. Then I felt the anxiety swept over me as well.
So I copied mom's anxiety. That's exactly what it is. It starts from her, emanates from her, and then sweeps over me. And it comes in waves. So I asked her, do you feel anxious? Does it come to you like this, that suddenly you're in it? It's not like, oh, there's a slow build up. And she said, that's exactly how it happens. And we can tell it's connected to dad, but I can't see because she's unclear about the parts of the dream right here. Can't see how it's connected to dad, but he's definitely involved because he's in this scene too. But then the other thing that's interesting, like she's almost near the end of the tunnel. I asked her, if you're working on an issue and getting towards the end of whatever process you're doing to get to the end, does your anxiety heighten as you get near the end? Because you would think it would be the other way around. Like you're getting to the end of a deadline, pressure is starting to release. It's like relief, I've done it. But in her case, it's the other way around. Her anxiety heightens as she nears the end of things. And that's what the getting near the end of the tunnel piece was.
What is the getting sick? What is that about? Because this is like the second time she talked about vaccination. She talked about people getting sick. And then she mentions it again here.
Well, she didn't remember the details properly. So we're a bit unclear. But getting ill in a dream, if it's a man, then it's about my masculine side is affected. Or if it's a woman, it's my feminine side is affected. And of course, there's lots of attributes and traits for each of those aspects. It's not going to be everything. It's going to be something in there.
Interesting. Okay, next paragraph. A childhood friend who I attended middle school with said she just allowed things to be and observed things the way they are. While I like to interpret things, she said she lives a simpler life. Then she was analyzing something like economy. I see some graphs, but I don't understand what she was saying. She was saying something will come back. I thought, yes, the stock market has cycles. The peaks will come back.
So the dream wants her to be like her friend. Don't panic, basically. See the cycles and know that things will come back around. And normally when we see observing in a dream, it's a negative thing. It's like I stay back and I observe. But this is like observe closely, get into it and realize it's all going to be okay. Things have an ebb and a flow. And I don't need to panic. If I'm in the stock market, I don't need to panic as soon as something starts going down because I know there is a cycle to the stock market. I made that one up. Don't take my advice. But so it's really trying to get her to get out of this anxious stage or way of operating and just let things be and be close to them.
That's excellent. Good advice. All right, next. I and another friend were in the same water as two crocodiles. They looked more like two crocodile toys. At first, they were just relaxing, and I felt even safe. Then the toys looking crocodiles put the bamboo made ring on its nose and charged at me. I fought it and I defeated it.
So I like this. When I channeled on it, though, it means that she doesn't feel safe unless she analyzes the situation around her. So yes, she has to analyze everything and then go, okay, I'm safe. And that's the opposite of the way most of us are. We feel safe and then something alerts us and we go, wait, this probably isn't a good place I'm in. So could you imagine that your default is I'm not safe. I have to turn around, look, analyze, figure everything out, panic, and then I have it. So she has to tell herself she feels safe. And it comes from childhood, of course, because of the crocodile toys.
Now, what are crocodiles?
Well, that's the fear. That's the symbol of the fear in the dream. But because it's a toy, it's a childhood fear.
All righty. Next part. I was having fun, and later I needed to report to my high school teacher. I told her I thought the game was so childish, but in the end, I was the one who enjoyed it the most among others. I was happy and laughing. She looked at me very happily with a smile as well. Didn't say anything, but seemed quite receptive of me.
All right. So I asked her what game and why did she feel the need to report it. She didn't know. But the meaning of this part is that she only figures out after the fact that she actually had fun doing something. And that's terrible. So can you imagine? It means it's already over and then you look at it and analyze and go, wait, yeah, I did have fun doing that. But it means that I'm so anxious during doing everything that I'm not having fun. I'm not feeling safe. I'm not, like, you name it. And there was another part in here I wanted to point out that even when I said, what was the game and why did you feel the need to report it? The idea here is that sometimes the question is the answer. We don't always have to have the answer to everything. And this particular person always wants to know the solution. She can't bring up a question without knowing the answer. And so it's like, for a lot of people, especially listeners of this show, sometimes we will just provoke a thought because it's like, I never thought of it this way. And then you're going to come to your own conclusion based on whatever comes up. And so the question oftentimes is the answer. And that's one of the things that will help her to understand. The last part of this little bit, though, is that she didn't feel that mom received her, or wasn't warm. And that's super sad. Like, to even say, mom wasn't warm to me. Like, that's already diluted to say that.
What about the high school teacher?
So she's a spiritual leader because we have a teacher in the dream. But it's like she has to check in and report in. But again, she doesn't know why. But it's like, it's just sad that is the way it is, that she's not enjoying, or only realizes after an event that when she does the report on it, let's say, that she goes, okay, I was happy doing that. But it's already over at that stage.
Wow, it's really sad. Okay, next part of the dream. I'm keeping us moving, Michael. I needed to get back and needed to go down, but both escalators were blocked. I asked the security sitting beside the escalator. He said there is another way down. As I was walking, I saw myself in the mirror. I was wearing pajama pants and multi-layered clothes. They didn't match at all and didn't look good on me. I went into a washroom. It feels like someone just took a shower there. Feels a little heat. There's a little smell as well. Not too bad. I took off some of the layers of clothes. I saw I was wearing a sweater outside a jacket. Really not right. Then I was with my mom. She forgot about how to get back too. She asked a couple of female security guards. They looked annoyed at her, feeling, it's you again?
So this is my favorite paragraph in the whole dream, which is why I said title your dream, because you're going to bring us to that most important paragraph. Because this one reveals so much. This paragraph could have been the whole dream. The blocked escalators, it's like I block myself from going into my heart. That's what the movement down is about, going down the escalator. But they're blocked. So I block myself from going into my heart. And that's the same as the two sweaters earlier. Like, I take one sweater off and have another one still on. And then look, here we have a jacket and a sweater. So it's the same thing, really. I double protect myself. And she says, like, mom didn't know the way, she's asking. So mom didn't or couldn't show her how to get into her heart. And that's really the core issue. because we copy mom. We learn to love ourselves from our mom. But mom didn't know how to do this herself and was incapable of showing me. That's not letting mom off the hook. That's super, super bad. But I love this. Like one paragraph is like, bam, it's the whole dream.
Well, going into the washroom and then someone had just taken a shower, she can feel that heat and the smell from that. So what's going on with that?
So it's all
Is this
about
elimination?
It's all about letting go of things. No, it's about psychological elimination. So yes, in that context, showers are like, I'm going to clear myself of all these issues. So now I'm clearing myself of the fact that mom didn't show me how to get into my heart, or that my path to my heart was blocked, etc., etc., etc. That's what I'm healing.
So what about the security guards being annoyed with her?
So that means that she suffered that in reality, probably from mom, because it's female security guards. So it's
Yeah,
like,
it was.
here's how I feel. And it's like, knock it off. So there's going to be something around mom that mom was annoyed if I even tried to get emotional.
Wow. Well, one more paragraph and then we're done. I saw some words marked inside of a top of a bottle with a lid on. Maybe like a mason jar with the lid on. The words say that the work I'm doing now with my dad will light up the path before me. The work I do with my mom will have impacts on the muscles. Can't remember whose muscles. My mom will think she's not a good mother. That's the end of her dream.
Well,
Strange dream.
yes and no. I love the whole dream because it's so clear, like from start to finish. And I love the end. I really like the end because in the dream, she knows the work she's doing on her dad would light up the path for her. Anything that's going to light up your path is fantastic. And we know she's working on her dad. And we know that she's going to have to work on mom too, because we see mom showing up. But it's a really good end to the dream. You're probably going to pick it apart now.
Alrighty. And then what's going on with muscles? The mom will have impact on muscles, but she can't remember whose.
This is something you don't often see in dreams, but I've only ever seen muscles referred to when a person is either gay or trans.
And then what is it about her mom not being a good mother?
I keep quiet about who I am sexually or my orientation because I think it will upset my mom.
Wow, very interesting dream. There's a lot of stuff in that, Michael.
There's a lot of stuff in every dream. You just need to know how to crack it open. But that's our show for this week. We've run out of time. I do hope you enjoyed it, doing these long format dreams. Obviously, they take us a lot longer, but the amount of detail is just phenomenal.
Thank you. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.